Hello and welcome to the Temple Mount podcast. My name is Shogun. Joining me today are my good friends Seth and Valen for part 2 of a series on Elon Musk, transhumanism, and Neuralink. Before we get started, please make sure you've subscribed to the official Temple Mount YouTube channel. Awesome episodes on every subject you can imagine. Today we're going to get into a very important one indeed. So without further ado, welcome Valen and Seth. Thank you for joining us. Valen, why don't you bring us into this very important conversation?
Well, I thank all our viewers for joining us on the second installment of the series of Elon Musk and Neuralink, hosted by me and with the wonderful guest Seth. I think in the first episode, even throughout the audio errors and the cutting in and out on my end, we were able to establish quite a good base for the listener to understand where we are coming from, as in a general perspective. And now we're going to tackle this on a more spiritual level. So. Without further ado, take it away, Seth.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? It's Seth here again, man, aka Truth for Revolution. This is the second part mini-series of the Elon Musk transhumanism podcast. And we're going to get into some different depths of the podcast today, talking in on certain parts that we've been wanting to cover for a long, long time now. This has a lot to do with what we're going through today, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, but also spiritually, And the one big thing that we encounter a lot these days is brain dead, brainwashed individuals in the Western society. And a lot of people really dismiss certain things when it comes to technology and AI and different things when it comes to technology. Now,
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go. No, I think that's a great point. That's a great launching off. I think the modern involvement of technology is, in your opinion, too, I think you agree with me, is a horrible distraction to use. We know through modern studies that come out recently, TikTok is like entering a candy shop for kids. It's so much. The dopamine potential to these kids is so high that they don't know where to start, right? So on TikTok, what we do know is it's programming the brain to react in 5-second intervals. The average person, you can time this on your own if you see someone just watching TikTok. It takes about 5 seconds before they scroll to the next one. And the average TikTok is, let's say, about a minute to maybe too long. So we're shortening the attention span by a drastic amount. The average person's attention span is 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to hook the person. That is insanity. The dopamine receptors in most people's brains are pretty much fried from the overuse. It's not fried, but they're quite overused. The amount of dopamine just through Instagram, through basic social medias is quite intense. And we see a drop off in the urge of people to do basic things. Primarily in the workforce, we're seeing a huge drop off. The motivation is no longer there, I think, in our youth. And I think it's primarily due to social media and its negative effects, not just mentally, but I think spiritually, it's the devil's toy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you said that, man, because these days, people are overstimulated in their brains, whether it's playing from video games, whether it's watching pornography or, indulging in these type of things through social media, through the cell phones, through the computers. Video games are a very big one. We see that with a lot of people playing on their computers or laptops. These people are very glued to this new age technology, man. And now we're seeing it through the metaverse. I mean, no knock on the metaverse or anything like that. I'm not trying to, shame it or tell people not to buy it. But this next gen type of technology is really leading us to a more lazier, darker path. And I see more. I do a lot of research um on AI and new AI systems being made, and you can see that sooner or later they're going. I mean, we already have driving cars, self-driving cars. So sooner or later we're going to see much more AI take over. They're already talking about AI robots that are marrying and stuff. And sorry about that. And yeah, we are seeing AI sex robots that are like being made right now. You can even look that up. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just absolutely nuts how we're seeing different things play out in this generation, dude. But I mean, on to the next. We're gonna keep seeing it years and years down the line. But yeah, man.
No, I think you're quite right there. And since we're tackling this more on a spiritual end in this episode, I think we need to cover that. What we need to understand is most of our daily life is is literally surrounded by the seven deadly sins. And what I mean by that is you go to work so you can gain money, so you can then either hoard it or spend it, right? Greed. Then you may be wondering, well, if you spend your money on things to impress others, you're doing that out of envy. You're doing that out of pride, right? Another sin. So just the basic structure of our life, how we surround it and what we do within it is very sinful, right? Like if you just look at the internet, you can either go almost places and get fucking sorry, I shouldn't say. You can get very, very angry, pissed off by just watching 15, 20 minutes of what most of pretty much anything. You can become lustful. You can become greedy. You can become prideful, envious. It's a lot of things. Social media and our general world surrounding us is surrounded by sin. But I think now having covered that, how does Elon Musk's Neuralink connect biblically, right? What prophecies do you think it fulfills here, Seth? And what do you think this is leading to? Or do you think this is just a first step to fulfilling some biblical prophecies?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of things that connect to the Neuralink, man. We already know that Elon Musk has talked about different miraculous things happening through this. Like people are going to be paralyzed. People are going to have a chance to walk. You know, there's going to be blind people that are going to be able to see through these type of things in certain ways. Don't quote me on that. I have been doing research on this, and he said that there is a possibility of that happening, but there's going to take, of course, levels and years of studying and undergoing processes. But they want to make the Internet of Things Neuralinkable. So what I mean by that is they're trying to make it to where we can actually access the World Wide Web through our brains. And it sounds far fetched right now, man, but they're talking as soon as 2030 to 2035, between that timeline. So that's 10 to 15 years from now. And if you look at it from now, it's just it's these are things that the Bible talks about, whether it's in the hand or in the brain. And I'm not saying it's the mark of the beast. I'm not so sure of it. Does it sound like it? Absolutely, man. I mean, these are devices, nanobot technology devices that are going to be able to take our vision and basically access technology, through the internet and different shit like that. Like we're basically going to be cyborgs, man. And I think that's going to be just, who knows? This is very much possible. People may say no. I think it's a little, far fetched and this and that. But I mean, with Elon Musk, anything's possible. The guy's proved it time and time again. Self-driving cars, as I said, we got him wanting to take people to Mars pretty soon by the year 2025. So the guy is a polarizing figure, dude. We've seen it year in and year out what he's been doing. Now, could he be making this technology to bring upon the Antichrist, or is he the Antichrist? Now it's time to chime in on the man's family. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people may not like this man, but there's some sketchy shit on here. I mean, we got his son. His son's name is literally an AI name. I think it's XAEYST something. And his actual name, I think, correlates in English, right, to Carl Musk or something like that. But he also has a daughter too that was just born, and her name is Dark Shadow Musk or something like that. So you look at these things, man, and the guy's into very dark shit. Now, don't get me started with his wife Grimes. Grimes is also into that dark verse as well. She's best friends with who, Lil Uzi Vert. Say that name 3 times faster, and you get what. But there's just some different things I see here with this man, and a lot of it correlates with what we're talking about here. And he's also good friends with the World Economic Forum leader, who is Klaus Schwab. And that man right there is obsessed with green emissions. He's obsessed with getting rid of oil and stopping, the big climate change that everybody talks about these days. And I'm not saying that isn't real or nothing like that, but there's a lot of questionable things that the World Economic Forum has talked about and is talking about today, every day, like how if the planet gets two Celsius degrees 2 Celsius degrees further ahead of the world climate right now, species will be changed forever. That, I mean, I don't really agree with. A lot of people will contact me on that and say, hey, hold on there. He has a lot to say on that, but I just find everything fishy with this guy, Elon Musk, man, and I don't know when or how he's going to get this out, or how they're going to even, like, how do you even tell somebody that this brain Neuralink chip is going to change the world without having them worry about the consequences? It's very easy, man. Show them the good first. Show them the people walking, doing miraculous things, people accessing video games through their mind and being able to play with their brain, basically going AFK in the real world. We've seen that in many Back Mirror episodes. I talked about this in the last podcast as well, dude. So, I mean, does this worry you, Valen? Does this give you any thought, like, would I ever take this? What would my family think about this? I mean, we're in the Western society as well. We're going through times of crisis, food shortages. There's also, inflation all around, so it's just ridiculous right now. And wars and rumors of wars, viruses, pestilences. I mean, this all is pointing somewhere, man. So what are your thoughts on this, Valen? And where do you see this coming through with the Neuralink and the whole, transhumanism agenda? Do you see any light out of this, man?
Well, you said a lot there. You went on quite a rant, so there's a lot to unpack. Let's begin with simply you covered a lot that we already discussed in the first podcast, right? One of them is, like, we've already discussed our mutual disagreements with the Neuralink and how we both wouldn't get it. I think furthermore, going back to a few things you said, I think, yes, Elon Musk's in a few weird things. His son, right, if I'm not mistaken, the name is based off of a certain fighter jet or a plane. And I think he's also no longer with Grimes, right? But no, I think Elon Musk quite interesting. To get back to the first point you made, I don't think the Neuralink is actually the mark of the beast. Unless we are all forced to take it's not the mark of the beast. Unless it is in our hand and in our forehead, it cannot be the mark of the beast. This is in our brain. It could be a precursor to it, but it is not the mark. I think when people say it's the mark, they have not read scripture enough to fully comprehend what the mark of the beast is, because it is in your forehead. We all comprehend what the forehead is, the skin in between the skin, like the skin between the muscles and your skull, right? The in-between part between that, right? That's the forehead. This is in the brain. So from that we know it's not the mark of the beast. But I think scripturally this could be leading to the Antichrist. Because remember, in the Bible, it said there will be many Antichrists, many false prophets, right? There's many leading up to the final Antichrist. So it could be an Antichrist figure, someone possessed with the spirit of the Antichrist. But I do not think Elon Musk himself is Antichrist. The signs have not been shown yet, right? But it's quite interesting. But moving on from this, right? The Neuralink in and of itself, right? If we remove ourselves from the idea of it being the mark of the beast, spiritually, what do you think it compromises in one's soul? Just implanting it in one's brain.
I think I already explained that, man. But yeah, I can go over that again. It's gonna cause a lot of damage, man, and this may very well be the mark of the beast. I'm gonna just straight say it, dude, because look, this is being talked about all around the world, man. You don't hear anything else being talked about like this. It's the Neuralink, dude. It's in process still. But I do think once it goes into people's brains and they accept it and soon when it is only accepted as a form of payment and controlling things through your brain, like going into your bank account through your brain. And I mean, it was even people say, oh no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, Seth. Look, man, look at the recent video the World Economic Forum posted with the CEO of Nokia talking about how he wants to integrate technology, or it's going to be integrated into everything, into our bodies. It's not going to be no more smartphones, like you said, and that this is all happening by the year 2030. I'm telling you, these sly motherfuckers at the World Economic Forum, dude, they are so sly, dude. And what he said there just makes total sense. It sounds like they're getting us prepped right now for what's to come. And I think if you accept this, you're gonna see a great success in things like, having money and getting to work from home, accessing things through your brain and different things like that, as well as losing your soul, your salvation through God, man. And this is what keeps me alive, keeps me going, is the word of God. If it wasn't for God, man, I don't know where I'd be right now. I'd be lost. I'd be confused. And
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead, sorry.
man, go ahead. No, I'm done.
No, that's quite interesting. But again, as we covered, scripturally, it is not the mark of the beast. Unless it is forced upon everyone, and if you do not take it, you will die. It is not the mark of the beast. Again, it is implanted within the brain, not the forehead and or the right hand. So, or within the palm, within the hand. So we know scripturally it is not. So I think convolutedly you answered the question that it will. If you were to get the Neuralink, spiritually, it compromises your tie to Jesus, right? But
Yes.
scripturally, now I think we need to elaborate on for the viewers why it is bad, right? I think scripturally one of the great ways to say it is the verse. I do not know this by heart, sorry if I butcher it, right? But you're not meant to adorn your skin with tattoos, right? You're not meant to adorn yourself with other things that are not from God. So I think spiritually that is why you could sever the link. But again, I think as we covered, it is not the mark of the beast unless it is forced to death upon everyone. So I think another area we should cover is, do you think Elon Musk, as I said, is an antichrist, not the antichrist, as we know that not enough signs leading to tribulations and the end times have been done yet. Prophecy still has to be fulfilled. Do you think Elon Musk and his kids could be antichrists leading to the final antichrist?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've seen it already. The proof is in the pudding at this point, dude. Elon Musk is just outright bogus, man. And what perfect person to have, putting things into our bodies, or wanting to sell some shit like this. He even said he doesn't even want to have it for sale. He wants to try it out on people first. He wants to pay people. I said this in the last podcast as well. He wants to pay people to actually try this out and experiment on it and go through human trials. Now it's just it's crazy, dude. And money runs this world. Money is the root of all evil. We all know that. And I'm not saying I don't need money. Everybody needs money to survive out here. But to go to that extent, to stick something in your body, in your brain, dude, in your brain. They've already done this on monkeys, pigs, animals. To stick this on one of the most sacred parts of your body, the most useful part to run what we have going on in this shell or avatar. Why? Why do that? It's never been done in humankind history. Why do it now? You know? And I truly believe that we're gonna see some crazy stuff, dude. And this is all coming very, very, very soon, guys. Very soon. You know. Biblically speaking, that's probably the only verse you can pull out of that. It doesn't talk about, um that per se the Neuralink and different things like that, but it does talk about miracles being done with it, and people worshiping this thing. And I think what better way than people to worship something than the Neuralink? The Neuralink literally is doing miraculous works with it, with just technology, with having people hearing again, deaf people hearing, people being able to feel again, and people that are paralyzed. As I said, I don't mean to be, circling around with my words here and stuff, but this is just what is true, you know? So, I mean, yeah, man, it's an absolute vortex of technology that's being thrown at us right now, and we're all being softened up with the things that are in our foods. You know, there's so many things that are like just everything is stimulating us at every moment, and this wasn't happening 70 to 80 years from now. We were going through times of war and World War II, and all different types of things. But it's just so hard not to think that we're not living in the end times as a Christian, man. Um, it's so hard to even comprehend sometimes, but just look into it. You can see what's happening into the world right now, the world that we live in. It's all coming together, man. And a lot of people are waking up to this, and a lot of people are leaving their faith as well, wanting to believe in their own, wanting to believe in thyself. In the Bible it says, do not lean on your own understanding. So that's one thing I've learned to not do on my own as well. Sometimes I want to be like, but there's everybody holds doubt sometimes, like on this earth, especially when you go through tough times. But I mean, these things don't make me doubt. Like Elon Musk, like what's happening in the world right now. Why people are, like it says, the man is going to come with a bow. Now, don't quote me on this, but I truly believe the bow that they're talking about, that the man of lawlessness, because he's going to come on a horse with a bow, the Antichrist, right? But guess what? That bow is going to be a rainbow. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's interpreting an actual rainbow, because the bow that it describes in the Bible, he's not going to come with any arrows, but just a bow. Now, what did God do before he left? He wiped out the earth with water, and he promised to never flood the earth ever again, but with fire it'll be. Now, the rainbow came across. What do you see today? A lot of people with different rainbow flags and this and that. And who are the people that are being persecuted today by those rainbow flags and rainbow people? The Christians. A lot of Christians are being persecuted nowadays, being called bigots and all types of things, when we're just trying to spread love, the gospel of Christ. And I truly believe the Antichrist will bring upon more LGBTQ things. And I'm not against the community or anything like that, but this is my interpretation. This is what I hold as truth. And they're turning the world upside down, man. All modern beliefs from back in the day are just turning upside down, dude. And it's coming a lot to do with Satan and his intercourse with technology and all different types of things, man. But yeah, well, what do you think? Do you think that the LGBTQ community are also holding, a key to this type of thing against us Christians and turning people away spiritually?
You said a lot there, and there's a lot to digest and unpack, right? I think the LGBT community, right? The scripturally we can't, right? If you don't stand for if you don't stand for what it says scripturally, you stand for nothing, right? So at the end of the day, right? I hate them, but I do not stand for them. I think that they're corrupting the morals of Western society. Now you can say, well, Western society started with the Greeks, and the Greeks and the Romans. Yeah, I really don't mind. Modern Western society, the one that we're used to from a Judeo-Christian perspective, homosexuality and any different sexuality isn't against God, but it's not fully permitted. It is not accepted. God doesn't hate you for it. He just doesn't want you to do it. It's as simple as that. So I think committing in the act, I cannot condone it. I cannot support it. And I think there's a lot more to this LGBTQ, if you want to say agenda. Well, I do believe it's an agenda, and it's not maliciously done by the community. I think it's literally done by Big Pharma, especially for the trans youth, right? Because every trans person is approximately, if fully transitioned, $1.3 million for Big Pharma. There is a economic agenda for this, right? But I think this is a side topic, right? From what we are covering, right? Of Elon Musk and the Neuralink. I think, yeah, it's society. Back to the main issue, right? I think how and what do you think Elon Musk could fulfill an end times prophecy that could bring us closer to the day of to the end days and to the day of judgment, tribulation, and all that? What do you think Elon Musk and the currently could do? Do you think somehow it could bring down the comet Wormwood or any such things, right? And if you were to bring down the comet Wormwood, other biblical prophecies would have to be fulfilled. Do you think
Some
Elon
people,
Musk
yeah, I like that you said that because some people
has
say
the
the
capabilities?
right. Some people say the wormwood is actually the um the explosion that happened at Chernobyl. And if you look at Chernobyl, if you actually translate that into I believe it's Arabic or Hebrew, it actually says wormwood. So I know it's crazy, man, and that's a fun fact right there. I think that prophecy has already happened, in my opinion. A lot of Christians on here is gonna, try and say no, it hasn't. But like I said, this is just my mind. I've done a lot of research on these type of things, so you guys can go and check the wormwood prophecy. And so a lot of us Christians tend to believe that that was the Chernobyl accident that happened. I mean, it was a big, I believe, comet or a big. I was just thinking. I think it was a bomb that they bombed the facility or something like that. But it had a lot to do with it, and I think that prophecy has been fulfilled already. Wormwood. Um, so what's next is the pestilences, the seals, and the four horsemen, and I think we're seeing that happen right now. The four horsemen of apocalypse, and we're only a few hours away, man. We're only a few hours away till we see the beast system fully transcend into this modern day society of a world. I mean, it's happening, dude. People, I'm not very good at elaborating on it, but a lot of people will dismiss me, and I just truly believe that this is what I believe. So you can break it down as it is. Pick and see what type of messages I'm leaving in here, to you guys. But yeah, man, this is the end. We got about maybe 20 to 30 years left until we see the Antichrist reveal himself. So stay tuned, everybody. This is very big, man.
I think this is a great place to start wrapping it up, if you guys agree. I just had a few closing comments. Did you want to say something else, Valen?
Yeah, well, a few things scripturally, right, to cover, right? I think the wormwood theory is quite interesting, right? But if we read scripturally, what happens, right? This is King James Bible, Revelation 8, verse 6, and the 7th verse 8. And when the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire, it was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. Right, and this is all talking about wormwood as it's coming down. So scripturally, we know Chernobyl isn't wormwood, and I think remember wormwood when it comes down, it's the seventh seal, right? There's a lot of other things that happen. I think we are quite far from biblical end times, right? Chernobyl for sure isn't wormwood, just because scripturally it doesn't line up. But beyond that, I think we have come to a great conclusion, a great end point.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. I just want to make a few points. One, humans are made in the image of God, and it is partly because we're made in the image of God, or the imago Dei, have dominion over the fallen angels. So once we start changing people so they're made in the image of God, we risk losing our dominion that God gave us over this planet. So we don't want to change the way that God made us so that we no longer resemble his image, because that's the sacred image that we share with Jesus Christ, who is the perfect God. So transhumanism in this regard is not compatible with Christianity, because you are blaspheming against the image of God by changing your body in these kind of ways in some respects. And that might also be part of forfeiting our dominion and part of the agenda of the fallen angels or the hybrids to take over the dominion of men on earth and literally dehumanize people so that we lose our special sacred status and relationship to our Father, El Elyon, who is God. I also would not be so sure it is not the mark of the beast, because unlike the vaccine that a lot of people thought was the mark of the beast, the vaccine went in the upper arm, which is neither the hand nor the forehead. As far as I can tell, the Neuralink does indeed go directly in the forehead. So I would absolutely consider that the Neuralink could very well be the mark of the beast. Then you said, well, it would have to be forced on everybody. But yeah, of course, but it's not going to start that way, right? They're going to roll it out with volunteer test subjects. Then it's going to be a consumer product. Then it's going to become adopted and accepted. And then a point will come when they can make it mandatory. So I would definitely not take the mark in the forehead or in the hand, because down the road that very well could be the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is not going to be rolled out all at once. And I definitely do not ever take anything in your forehead or your hand. And yeah, you can say it's in the brain, not the forehead, but no, it literally goes in the forehead to get into the brain. So I would be very, very, very strongly warning people not to take anything in the forehead or the right hand, including the Neuralink. You also have to consider how the Neuralink could be used as an interface for artificial intelligence, and basically enable like an artificial intelligence form of demonic possession, where they could use AI to take over human bodies, because the AI machine system could then use the Neuralink to take over your nervous system and basically turn you into like a demonic possessed or AI possessed individual. And that's only just a few of the risks that exist with Neuralink. So I just want to second this, that people should be very cautious, and Christians should not be changing their bodies out of the image of God, except obviously for certain medical things like, a prosthetic arm if you lose your arm or whatever. And that's sort of just a few things that I wanted to emphasize based on your excellent presentation. I'm not going to say much more. We want to keep this short and sweet. So thank you so much, Valen. Thank you so much, Seth, for this podcast. Join us again tomorrow in the evening. We'll be having another great podcast with Zoo the Storm Dragon, or Zoo the Ancient Dragon. Keep an eye on the announcements channel for that. Please make sure you follow and subscribe to the Temple Mount official YouTube channel, and we'll be doing events on a fairly regular basis going forward, so keep an eye on the announcements. Thank you, everybody. God bless, and do not take the mark of the beast. Now let's jump to the Templar Tavern for the remainder of the night.
Amen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Peace.